Yes, you read the headline, right? That is 100 members of parliament head to Addis for Raila's AUC polls D-Day. And that's where we start off our news coverage this morning, where former Prime Minister Raila Odinga has pledged to pursue institutional reforms in the African Union if he emerges victorious in the African Union Commission chairperson elections slated for Saturday. Raila maintains he is open to any outcome in Addis Ababa, saying his candidature is a representation of his long-time desire to serve the continent. Here's John Jacob Curia with the details.
In his annual address of the heads of mission and international organizations at State House, Nairobi, the
Bomas of Kenya, Nairobi. With the clock ticking to D-Day for Raila Odinga's candidature for the position of African Union Commission Chief, the Orange Democratic Movement's Nairobi Women's League gathered supporters to seek divine intervention for his bid. Song and dance, worship and prayers filling the auditorium. Raila handed a staff, symbolizing the daunting task ahead of him as he seeks to shepherd the more than 1 billion people who call Africa home in pursuing education, infrastructure development, energy connectivity and better use of minerals. Raila pledging to pursue development and institutional reforms if elected.
Mimi nitasimama imara. Nikienda katika bara la Afrika, nitafanya mambo laini sawa sawa vile nyinyi mnajua tabia yangu. Tutajaribu kutatua shida ya bara ya Afrika. Mambo ya elimu, mambo ya matibabu, mambo ya miundo msingi, mambo ya viwanda, mambo ya usafirishaji ya bidhaa na ya biashara, yote tutaimarisha.
The former Prime Minister says he's approaching the election with an open mind.
Naenda kwenye kinyang'anyiro, sivyo? Mimi nina hakika tutakienda pale kwa kiongozi ya Mwenyezi Mungu, tutafaulu. Tukishinda tumefaulu, tukishindwa tumefaulu. Sawa sawa.
Sisi ambaye tumebaki hapa, kazi yetu ni kuombea mazuri, Mungu amsaidie apate hiyo kiti ambaye anataka. Na akitaka si yake binafsi na bibi yake mimi, lakini ni ya Afrika nzima.
He called on the government to get to the root of the recent spate of abductions and extrajudicial killings.
Hatuwezi kuvumilia kamwe watu wanatekwa nyara hovyo. Hawa watu ambao wanateka watu nyara ni watu gani? Ambaye askari tunasema hawajui. Kama askari hawajui, hayajakani kuwa na polisi.
Meanwhile, the prayer meeting attended by Nairobi County Governor Johnson Sakaja exposed cracks within the Orange Party, with a section of ODM top brass, including Secretary General Edwin Sifuna, giving it a wide berth.
ODM. Nataka Nairobi ibaki imara. Nataka Nairobi ibaki namna gani? Mbie huyo kijana yangu huyo ashikilie na afanye kazi sawa sawa.
Nimesikia Ladwa na nimesikia Wanga. Dalili ya mvua nini? Dalili ya mvua ni nini? Mwenye macho haambiwi na mwenye masikio haambiwi. Sisi tuko hapo bampa tu bampa, tuko pamoja.
Mimi nataka kukuhakikishia ya kwamba sisi kama your students tutashikilia pamoja, we will remain united. Tutashikana mikono under your guidance, because baba hata akiwa Addis Ababa, yeye ndio party leader wetu, bado anatuelezea vile tufanye kuhusiana na chama.
Unapoenda kupigania kule EU, mimi naomba Sakaja gavana wetu, wewe toka UDA kuja kwa ODM.
Two other candidates, namely Mahmoud Ali Yusuf of Djibouti and Richard Randiamandrato of Madagascar, will vie for the seat on Saturday, 15th of February 2025.
So that's the big story, that is whatever outcome that comes our way as Kenya come the 15th. After that vote, it's going to change Kenya's political landscape, and that is for sure. Let me just give you a quick analysis as per quoted in this particular daily, where my colleagues are going to peruse more and give you updates. Is that if the ODM leader wins the election, it would be a major diplomatic and political victory for President William Ruto. The triumph could cement Ruto's hold on power and boost his international standing. However, should Raila lose, the experiment of winning with the former Prime Minister's political base could backfire. Raila then could also return to the local scene to contest for the 2027 presidential election or endorse another ODM candidate. So what is required to be declared a winner in the upcoming elections with the AUC? Quick math is that to clinch the seat, a candidate during the first round of voting should secure at least 33 votes out of 49. The AU has a 55 member countries, but 6 are not eligible to participate. So if in the first round, no candidate gets 33 votes during the first round of voting, a second round of voting will be ordered, and whoever bags the highest number, or what we call a simple majority, carries the day. So far, Raila's secretariat has said that he has secured an endorsement from 28 countries, and he's already visited at least 27 countries during his campaign, including the Democratic Republic of Congo. According to expert opinion by Macharia Munene, says that it is not a straight one for Kenya, and if Kenya gets over the Congo issue with ease, then the Kenyan candidate stands a chance. Well, we'll be sending a crew down to Addis, and they're going to be monitoring what is going to become, what the outcomes of that particular vote. You can also be part of this conversation. Get us on X at KBC Channel 1. Now back to the local scene, where rather international diplomacy, where it's concerned, is that President William Ruto says Kenya remains focused in forging a robust bilateral and multilateral cooperation with all nations to deliver tangible results to global citizens. He was addressing heads of mission and international organizations at State House, Nairobi, where he reiterated Kenya's commitment to champion and expand diplomatic relations, cultivate strategic alignments, and build bridges to further the shared success.
In his annual address of the heads of mission and international organizations at State House, Nairobi, the president said Kenya's commitment to diplomacy has allowed the country to forge global relationships, with diplomatic footprints expanding from 6 missions at independence to 70 currently. The president saying the country's foreign policy priorities currently include deepening diplomatic ties, championing Pan-Africanism, expanding international cooperation, enhancing regional stability, fostering economic development, advocating climate justice, addressing global health challenges, and pushing for equitable reforms in international finance and governance.
The evolving global landscape calls for urgent reforms to make multilateral institutions more responsive to the needs of all nations. Kenya strongly supports UN reform, particularly greater representation for Africa.
On matters regional peace, security and prosperity, especially the troubled Democratic Republic of Congo DRC, Ruto said Kenya's position is for an immediate ceasefire, humanitarian access and peaceful resolution to the conflict.
We made it very clear that there cannot be and there is no possibility of a military solution to this DRC problem.
He added that robust efforts are underway to enhance Nairobi's position as a hub for multilateral diplomacy by ensuring international organizations enjoy necessary privileges, expanded infrastructure, and bolstering security. He said beyond Africa, Kenya is also contributing to global security through the Multinational Security Support Initiative in Haiti, with calls for the diplomatic community to encourage their governments to join in the effort.
Because of the centrality and the importance of peace and security and stability in Haiti, all parties agreed that this is one intervention that requires all our support.
Canada remains steadfastly committed to Haiti. It is part of our neighborhood. We have invested a significant amount of money in the multi-sector security mission. That has not wavered. And we continue to look forward to working with Kenya. Very much appreciate Kenya's contribution.
I also greatly appreciate the notion or the recognition of our joint efforts in Haiti, and recognize His Excellency's remarks about Kenya as a reliable partner. That Kenya is taking on this humanitarian burden and this leadership role in an area so far from herself, from Kenya, is truly impressive. And I want to express again my appreciation for all of the Kenyan police and officials who have contributed to that.
President Ruto called on international partners to support peace missions in Africa, citing the DRC situation currently facing financial challenges. He said there was need for Africa's policies to focus on job creation, entrepreneurial support, and investments in technology and creative economy. The head of state pointed out that Kenya remains committed to clean energy and investment in renewable manufacturing, such as solar panels and batteries, urging the world to recognize climate action as an imperative for survival and shared responsibility.
Away from matters bilateral and multilateral connections or other cooperations with Kenya, we get down to matters of graft, where the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission has revealed that the average bribe police officers receive to render service has increased by 84% during the launch of the examination into the system, policies, procedures and practices of the National Police Service. The Abdi Mohamud-led anti-graft body has established that a regular police officer will receive a bribe of up to 11,115 shillings, while their traffic counterparts will inquire for a bribe of up to 7,011 shillings. A report by the EACC into the systemic weaknesses and loopholes that encourage corruption in Kenya's police operations established that despite Kenyans paying the said bribes, they do not get the services sought. Here's Abdiaziz with the details.
In adherence with the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission Act of 2011 and Article 31 of the Constitution, the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission has moved in to audit the National Police Service's systems following numerous reports relating to bribery and other forms of corruption within the service.
We don't want always to be number one leading in terms of corruption.
The anti-graft body has established that the average bribe paid to a regular and a traffic police officers 0.1% in 2022 to 84.2% in 2023.
This man, after 2 days, he had spent more money transporting the people who were supposed to investigate the case to various places, and there was nothing. There was no recovery. Every time he's told now, no lunch.
During the launch of the examination into the systems, policies, procedures and practices of the service at the Police College in Embakasi, Nairobi County, the EACC CEO Abdi Mohamud said that in the year 2022, a regular police officer will receive a bribe of 6,032 shillings, and the figure rose to 11,115 shillings in 2023. On the other hand, traffic police officers will receive a bribe of up to 5,039 shillings, which increased to 7,011 shillings in the year 2023. Moreover, the report highlighted that the probability of a bribe being demanded when seeking a service also rose by 1.28%. The incidents were witnessed especially at the issuance of a certificate of good conduct, seeking police protection, bailing of arrested individuals, and the issuance of a police abstract.
The number of people out of 100 who received services only after paying a bribe. So maybe if you're not able to part with 50 bob or something else, something happens.
The last time I checked, the giver and the taker are equally. Where was the line drawn then, where the giver was lionized and the taker was demonized?
So we really want you to even help us get adequate resources, because a motivated officer, chair, is an officer who is holistically covered. He will wake up, he has all his tools of trade, uniform.
A criminal is a criminal, whether in uniform or not. So for those who will be involved, then they will face the consequences of the law.
According to the EACC CEO Abdi Mohamud, the National Police Service has consistently ranked at the top of the list of the most corrupt institutions in surveys conducted by EACC over the years.
And I want to assure the service officers that the National Police Service is not under investigation by the EACC, but they are coming to join us so that we can look at the gaps.
If the IG says no more corruption in the police force, it will end today. And Masengeli is there saying, once you say he hatachukua,
They fear EACC. Somehow it's an enemy because the way they are being arrested.
So any institution any public institution that actually takes the systems review seriously, as we will, of course, do and implement the recommendations that we give, they will reap the benefit.
The anti-graft body has assigned 11 sleuths to address the systemic weaknesses and loopholes that encourage corruption within the service. Upon completion of the audit, EACC will submit a comprehensive report of the findings and make recommendations to the Inspector General of Police for implementation. The exercise is set to start tomorrow and conclude on the 18th of July this year.
Well, do you agree with the report? You can let us know on our X handle at KBC Channel 1. Now to health. Stakeholders in the health industry now say the current funding model for the Social Health Authority was not well thought out and needs to be reviewed for better outcome. According to the experts, the model puts heavier burden on those in the informal employment while leaving out those in the informal sector who contribute up to 80% to the economy. They are proposing the introduction of taxes in order to fund health, as the case with the fuel levy that is used to maintain our roads.
On Monday, stakeholders drawn from the health sector, civil society among others convened in Nairobi to dissect the health sector and the challenges it faces, especially since the introduction of the Social Health Authority.
We have walked all the way from Kenyatta Hospital, Miguu, mpaka huku.
Among those present was Grace Mulei, a citizen activist who made headlines after storming Afya House over failure of the Social Health Authority systems at Kenyatta National Hospital.
Because how I woke up that morning to go to Kenyatta, I went as a patient. I was not going to do anything. I was going to get treatment. We were just looking for help. It wasn't a planned thing.
Mulei says that her case is yet to be formally dropped, despite the Ministry of Health saying it will drop it.
They told me that they have withdrawn the case, but officially it is not withdrawn because I went to the police station and they told me they have not received any instructions So we are still awaiting officially to be told that it has been withdrawn.
The issue of health financing took center stage as experts outlined what needs to be done to ensure adequate funding.
And if we look at the Kenyan system, we see that the greatest burden of the new shift system came onto the formal sector. We've said that they are not enough within the country. We have about only 3 million formal sector employees. If you look at the average wages, 88% of them earn less than 100,000. The average formal sector wage right now is 72,000.
It is very difficult to enforce contributions from the people in the informal sector. It is normally easy to deduct salaries from those who are salaried. 80% is in the informal sector. But that's not to say those are poor people. Actually, some of the richest people in our country are in those informal sectors. And some of the poorest people actually are salaried people.
They called for the introduction of earmarked tax to fund healthcare as one of the ways to capture those in the informal sector.
If we can earmark taxes for maintenance of roads, why can't we earmark taxes for maintenance of our own health? And we don't have to create a new tax. We may just go to that fuel levy and we say, if it's 16%, 10% will go to roads and 6% goes to health.
While health remains a devolved function, the government has been challenged to ensure that counties get more funds in order to deliver.
Now, what is your take on that? Is the funding model working? Will an introduction of taxes be a better way of funding matters health? Feedback is appreciated. Get us on X at KBC Channel 1. Now, we delve to some, encouraging news, especially for the private sector. And the Cooperative Bank of Kenya is the first lender to reduce its lending rate in line with the Central Bank of Kenya's move last week to cut the benchmark lending rate and the cash reserve ratio. Cooperative Bank of Kenya has announced a reduction of its benchmark lending rate from 16.5% to 14.5%.
Policy makers at the central bank on Wednesday last week reduced the benchmark lending rate to 10.75%, the lowest in a year. In addition, the policy makers further reduced the cash reserve ratio from 4.25% to 3.25% to free up more cash held by commercial banks for lending the private sector to stimulate economic activity. In response, Cooperative Bank of Kenya has become the first lender to reduce its lending rate, offering its existing and new customers a 2% lower lending rate. In a statement, Cooperative Bank Group Managing Director Gideon Muruki says, and I quote, Coop Bank Group is pleased to announce a significant 2% reduction in our base lending rate from 16.5% per annum to 14.5% per annum, end of quote. Cooperative Bank of Kenya decision to reduce lending rates is intended to stimulate credit growth to key sectors of the economy, notably the micro, small and medium-sized enterprises that are a critical engine to drive and sustain economic growth. The reduction in lending rates comes at a time when households and businesses are grappling with the high cost of living. However, individual borrowers will be charged a different lending rate based on their credit score as well as borrowing and repayment history. Muruki said, and I quote, the effective lending rate would be the base lending rate of 14.5% per annum plus a margin of between 0% per annum to 4% per annum based on the individual customer's credit profile, end of quote. The reduction in the base lending rate by Cooperative Bank is expected to trigger similar moves by other commercial banks in coming days.
Just further to add to that is the Central Bank of Kenya announced that it will met out daily fines to banks as punishment for failure to cut the interest rates in the latest effort by the regulator to unlock cheaper credit for business. Now, according to the CBK governor, that is Kamau Thuge, he said that the regulator has started physical inspection of banks to expose and punish those who are reluctant in, cutting their interest rates after that particular MPC. So has your bank reduced the lending rates? If not, you know where to send that information to. We head over to sports, where 5 past winners have confirmed their participation in this year's magical Kenya Open Golf Championship, slated for February 20th all the way to the 23rd at the Muthaiga Golf Club. Meanwhile, the championship received 60 million sponsorship from Absa Bank.
Defending champion Darius van Driel of Netherlands leads the solid lineup of former winners at the 2025 Kenya Open. The Dutchman faces stiff opposition from 4 other past winners who are already plotting to dethrone him from the crown. Among them is 2023 winner Jorge Campillo of Spain, who narrowly missed last year's gong. The 2021 champion Justin Harding of South Africa will be on the course as well. Also in the mix is the 2019 winner Guido Migliozzi of Italy, as well as the 2018 champion Sebastian Soderberg of Sweden. Sports Principal Secretary Peter Tum reiterated the government's commitment to continuing retaining the stage of the event by investing in it. The tournament, which received a sponsorship boost worth 60 million shillings from Absa Bank, is set to attract a total of 144 players, with Kenya being represented by 13 players.
As a government, we remain committed to creating an enabling environment for sports organizations to thrive. Our commitment is driven by the fact that sports not only unite us, just like the MD said, as a nation, but also enables our youth to pursue their sporting talent.
Winners will share the $2.5 million prize purse.
Well, that effectively puts a cap on matters in the headlines this morning. Be sure to peruse our website, that is www.kbc.co.ke, for further stories that are making headlines across the globe, including on matters business, sports and regional politics. It's down to the wire for the AUC chairmanship slot there for Kenya, with some of the headlines this morning indicating that over 100 members of parliament are going to be in Addis. That also should include KBC Channel 1, that is sending a team there to keep tabs on what is going to be happening on Saturday. Remember, however the vote turns out, whether in favor of our Kenyan candidate, that is Raila Odinga, if he clinches the position, well, that changes the political matrix here, leaving him out, not able to come back to the politics, especially in 2027 local politics, or rather country politics. If he takes up that particular slot, what does it mean for Kenya as, a regional powerhouse, given the positions that we currently hold across the region? We'll be keeping tabs on that. So do keep it KBC Channel 1. Have a pleasant viewing ahead. I'm Regina Manyera.